Halloween is just in a month, and I think this is a good Halloween album. The Doors' first album, their self-titled debut album, released in January 1967. See, look at the back there. It's an interesting shot for the back. Unfortunately, this album sleeve did not come with any lyrics like most do, so for that I had to search it up on myself. It's interesting, in those days, lyrics either came on the album cover or the album sleeve, or you could go to magazine shops and they would have lyrics within the book, which was pretty cool. So yeah, that's how people learned how to do lyrics in those days, or how to sing along in those days. With Jim's haunting vocals, he is what I call the perfect singer for Halloween, because he has that little ooh kind of voice when he sings. Oh boy, can he get high on the high notes. Well, not literally drugs or alcohol high. I mean like, he can really get that high in the music. At the very top, right there, Ray Manzarek. It's interesting, while Jim stole the spotlight, Ray Manzarek was the man who I think really held the band together during their dark days when Jim was going a little cuckoo. Jim didn't really take kindly to the whole rock and roll lifestyle. Well, I mean, let's just say he fought it. He fought the whole rock and roll ID. He was more interested in being a poet than a rock singer. Let's get down to this album. Why do I love the Doors album? For quite a bit of time, I actually remember for a whole year I listened to that album nonstop before getting it myself. I had Spotify at the time, still do. This was the album that I listened to throughout 2017. The Doors, that's when the Doors finally just clicked. I mean, I liked Jim Morrison's story, his biography. I read books about him, but never bothered to listen to the music. And finally, I did. And I have been listening to their music for 3 years now. And I really do enjoy the Doors. This album has a lot of their big hits, including Light My Fire, Break On Through the Other Side, Soul Kitchen, and Crystal Ship. Crystal Ship's a little bit of a let me reword that. Crystal Ship is an extremely great slow dance song. You can almost picture people in the arenas or the stages, like the auditoriums, just slow dancing in the crowds. And to me, I think if you can picture the scenery, like if you can picture what the music video might look like, then that tells me you're feeling the music. When you feel the music, that's a good sign. That means you enjoy the album. Not only is this one of the greatest debut albums ever made, but this is also one of the best albums ever made. It seems to me that a lot of debut albums just hit it out of the park. Like a lot of debut albums. Guns N' Roses, Wasp, Motley Crue, the Beatles, the Beach Boys. Almost every band in those days, their first album was multi-platinum. And this album, like, within just a month of being released, they got up there with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Of course, number one will always be Elvis Presley. Well, Elvis was always number one at that time. If you want to have a good album to play for Halloween night this year, or any year, this is your go-to. In fact, their first two, this one and Strange Days, which I also have, I might review that next. Both Strange Days and their self-titled album, this one, are perfect for Halloween. And how am I going to rate this? This one, 10 out of 10 stars. Okay? It is a time machine. It will send you right back to the 1960s, the late 1960s hippie era of the West Coast. And it makes you feel, what were people doing in those days? You can almost imagine the scenery. That is an album. This is an album.